Hey everybody, Peter Harris here. Today I want to talk about the Van Halen album Diver Down. Now, all Van Halen fans praise the six-pack. The first 6 albums by Van Halen include the original band, including David Lee Roth and Michael Anthony, with good reason. Among those 6 albums, the only one that consistently gets any kind of flack seems to be Diver Down. Now, it is one of my favorites, and I know a lot of the reason it gets some criticism is because of the abundance of cover songs on the album. You've got Where Have All the Good Times Gone, leads off the album, cover song. Dance in the Streets, Pretty Woman, Big Bad Bill, Sweet William Now, Happy Trails. All these are cover songs. Now, the original songs of the album are as strong as anything Van Halen ever did. Hang 'Em High, one of their hardest rockers ever, one of the faster tempo songs they ever did in their catalog. Secrets, one of the undiscovered gems of their catalog. Just a fantastic song. And one of the brilliant things that David Lee Roth did is he never really wrote ballads. When they did slower stuff and kind of softer music, it was usually in the vein of Secrets. Sort of acoustic, slower paced song, gentler sentiment, but it wasn't an outright love song, which is something he really sort of avoided, which I think is a good thing, because if there's anything more cliched in rock than love songs, I don't know what it could be. The Full Bug, Little Guitars, just all the originals in this album were grade A, and some fantastic guitar playing. In The Full Bug, Eddie has some brief flirtations with almost fusion lines in the solo, and Hang 'Em High, of course, that solo it's almost more of a rhythm solo than a straight lead single line solo, but I'm sure everybody here is familiar with that album. But I've got some ideas of how that album could have been even better. With my miraculous gift of 2020 hindsight, I am deeming to diagnose the ills with Diver Down and how I would have fixed it. Hey Bear. Hey Bubby. So, what I would have done, there's a couple things that we know of from the recording of that album. Originally, Van Halen come off the Fair Warning tour, pretty beat down and needed a break. So Dave came up with the suggestion of doing a cover song, just to sort of throw out there as a summer single, kind of let the world know they're still out there, and that would buy them some time to take a break. So he suggested Dancing in the Streets. Purportedly, Eddie, said at the time, I can't really get a handle on this. There's really not a riff for me to latch onto and make anything out of. So he suggested Pretty Woman. So they did that, and it ended up becoming a decent hit. So in spite of their intention of it being a time buyer, Warner Brothers, the record label, said, whoa, you've got a hit here. You better get your butts back in the studio and make an album. And they're like, well, that's totally the opposite of what we wanted to do. But they're like, nope, get in there. So they were basically forced back in the studio to come up with something. So that's probably a reason for the abundance of covers. Now, Dance in the Street, one of the big things I would have done to fix the album as a whole would be to pare down a little bit of the cover songs. So one of my bigger ideas was, another thing Eddie has said is that riff for Dancing in the Street was performed on a Mini Moog, a synthesizer. And he originally came up with that idea to make a whole new original song. It had nothing to do with Dancing in the Streets. So he had this idea, and at some point after they've recorded Pretty Woman, recording Diver Down, Ted Templin, Don Landy, and Roth said, wait, this would work perfect for Dancing in the Streets. He's like, well, no, that's a song I wrote for us, an original. They're like, no, it'll be perfect. So it was basically Preston of service for Dancing in the Streets. So that, I think, chafed Eddie a little bit. But if they had not gone that route and developed and fleshed out an original song idea out of the already completed riff and chord changes that Eddie'd come up with, that could have been a really cool kind of up-tempo song for the album. What kind of final form that would have taken, I don't know. But you can see here, there's some 83 footage of Eddie playing the riff on guitar as opposed to the Mini Moog with some judicious echo. But you can see it works really well as just a guitar song. The next thing I would have done for that album would have been to include their song Big Trouble. Now, if you don't know the song, and many hardcore Van Halen fans will already know this, in 2012 they did include it on A Different Kind of Truth as Big River. So they have released that song in a time frame, but of course at this time they have not. Big Trouble, just some different lyrics, same basic song. And there is actually a good version of it from the 77 demos recorded with Gene Simmons. You can find those online under the Gene Simmons, the Van Halen Zero tapes. And there's also floating around there are versions of them where they recorded a demo of it in '82 for inclusion on Diver Down. At some point it didn't make the cut. But it holds up well. Eddie has a great solo in it. And I think if they had included that and included original song on in lieu of Dancing in the Streets, that would have added 2 more original songs to the lineup. And an additional thing about this album was it only came in at 31 minutes and 4 seconds. It was not a long album by any stretch. So that would have, beefed it up a little bit in running time and added an extra 2 additional original songs to the lineup, where you still would have had the cool covers of the Kinks and Where Have All the Good Times Gone. Big Bad Bill, I think, is actually a great addition to their catalog. I really showed a different side of them, so I thought that was a valuable inclusion. I really liked hearing that side of the band, especially with Jan Van Halen playing clarinet. I mean, that's something that's definitely cool to have in their official discography. But I thought it was cool, but I think that those 2 changes, Dance in the Streets being an original song based on Eddie's riff, and Big Trouble being included, would have vastly improved that album. And at that point, there would have been none of that, Diver Down's the worst of the 6-pack, or Diver Down had too many covers. It would have eradicated 99% of that. So what are your thoughts? Would that have helped? Would that have not helped? Would it make a big difference? Or am I just, being Monday morning quarterback 35 years later? I don't know. You let me know.